What's up everyone, Shirley here. Today we're back in Bowser's Castle, taking a look at Painsmith Raznal on Mythic difficulty. Sorry this one's a little bit delayed, I've been getting over a cold for the last week or so, that's why my voice might sound a bit stuffy still. Anyway, getting right into this one on the poll here, I'm still playing single target Venthyr at the moment. We're gonna go ahead and use all of our cooldowns on poll here. I'm generally saving Bladestorm, but it's for this situation right here, these the first wave of spike balls that come out. You could Bladestorm these, or Sweeping Strikes, this edge ball that we're killing down here. Bladestorm is certainly much safer, especially throughout the fight when you need to kill these things, because you have to backpedal with them, you know, so you're not getting hit, obviously, and Bladestorm's AoE is going to let you do that. I had a ton of rage right there, though, on the first one, and since that's the condemn window at the beginning of the fight here, I opted to just Sweeping Strikes and condemn it as much as I could there, and just use Bladestorm later here during my next Warbreaker so I could just get some rage back during this window. And as we get down to the first intermission phase, the second spike ball is going to come out here. We're always killing these edge ones. This is just to make things simpler for everybody to get through, and also trap placement. After we get down that last spike ball, though, we're going to stop hitting the boss here for our strategy, and that's why I was just chasing down the second one there, is because we're just going to stand around. Disclaimer, if you're doing this strategy, you're probably not going to parse, at least not as Venthyr on this, this boss fight, as you're just standing around not doing anything. Speaking of which, if you were going to be playing nightfae or kyrian, this fight is just going to be amazing for either of those. Speaking of that too, we got the announcements in the 9.15 update, not really patch notes yet, that we're going to be able to switch covenants finally, which is amazing. So I can't wait to actually be able to try and experiment with the other covenants on all these juicy AoE burst fights. Not that this one's really like a lot of AoE burst, but there's a couple of situations where it's pretty good. And as we transition into the first intermission here, we were waiting to hit the boss until he does the axe toss on our tank again, and then you can just blast him there. Not that that damage really matters all that much, because spoiler, we're going to be stopping DPS again. But as we're going through the gauntlet here, this is easily the most, difficult part of the encounter. There's definitely a rhythm to it, and there's a pattern that you'll recognize. Obviously, these things go back and forth in a set way, but there's definitely a pattern with these spike balls rolling across that you'll begin to recognize where you can go and where you can't go, what times you want to go back behind the balls here, and other times you want to go in front. All I can say is that it's going to take some repetition to really recognize that for yourself. But anyways, we get into the next part of the fight here. We're all going to gate at the exact same moment to stack up these adds, and this is obviously where being Kyrian or nightfae would be just hands down better than Venthyr. There's nothing that Condemn really brings to the table right there. You could Sweeping Strikes and Condemn a couple, beforehand, but they die so fast that I'd rather have the loaded burst on those other cooldowns. Speaking of which, when they're spawning and you're stacked up there and before the fire pools come out, go ahead and pop Sweeping Strikes before you Warbreaker and Bladestorm, because, like I said, they die so fast you don't want to be wasting that GCD afterwards to get in any Dreadnought shockwaves off your overpower. I'm going to go ahead and take this trap out here during this portion of the fight, and we're always trying to make a bit of an L shape around the corner there where we're tanking this. Right here as well, when we have our raid has a lot of cooldowns back up and there's a lot of stuff on the ground, it's really easy to miss that tank wave of spikes on the ground, so you definitely want to be paying attention to that. And we're going to go ahead and kill this next spike ball set here. And luckily we got in a good position there that it spawned next to us. We do want to be getting right up next to those spike balls as soon as they spawn every time, and that's just to avoid any of the chain lines that come off our range players or the tank. So we got really lucky for the kill here, actually, that most of them spawned right next to us. There's only a couple of situations where we actually have to chase any of these down. And right here, once again, we're just waiting for cooldowns and stuff to line back up, not hitting the boss or doing anything. I guess there's a little bit of downtime. I'm waiting right here for these spikes to go out before I go ahead and jump on this spike ball and get it down, and then we'll go wait for our next hammer toss and go into the next intermission phase. But while I have a moment here, since it's been a couple of weeks since I've put out a video for this, we're actually on Celtic Zod already, so I'll probably spam out a couple more videos than usual this week just to get caught back up. Hopefully you guys don't mind that. But anyway, getting to the next transition phase here. We're trying not to stand in the line that the gap is in whenever we're baiting out the fire circles that spawn. Right here, you could have went back one. I was actually playing a little bit risky going in front of that spike ball there instead of going to the back. And you can always just wait in the gap as well for these things to pass. That's generally a good idea. But I found, for me, it helped to try and gain ground rather than go back and cut to too close. I like to kind of stay ahead here myself, but it's different for everybody, whatever works for you, really. We're going to gate all at the same time here for this last wave, and just try not to move. Go ahead and pop your sweeping strikes beforehand. This is where we're going to use our potion and bloodlust for the final phase. I went ahead and hit one overpowered, just lying before my Blade Storm there, just to get that rolling on cooldown. But we're going to get back into our corner here on the triangle marker, and excuse me, once again, get really lucky with these spike ball spawns and just be able to stack on this thing and cleave it down. You definitely want to get really close to it as well for any ranged in your group, because if they're standing too far out, they'll get clipped by any of the spikes later on from the other chain targets. Get another trap here to stack up into the corner, and we're still stacking all of these into the corner and just stacking any cooldowns here. This is fire damage too, so you might as well throw up like a spell reflect for most of these going off just to help mitigate any damage that you can. Another tank wave to dodge right here and get lucky once again with these spike balls. After watching this back, it's actually kind of funny how many we had right on top of this. It was really convenient for our kill. Probably why it was, you know, pretty clean throughout. We're going to go ahead and get through here and give any of those chain targets time to get through as well. Stepping over this last line here is that if we get down to 10%, you think you might hit the enrage, but we're going to drop our last set of traps here on the edge still and pop these. It'll be the next set of traps, if we have any, that we're going to be dumping in the middle of the room before the enrage goes off, where all the spikes come out from the outsides of the room, of course. Now, right here, I was trying to avoid this line and just Blade Storm for a little extra range here. Should have avatared before that, but it is what it is. And we're just going to get right up close to this ball here. I could have greeted and just stayed on the boss there, but I didn't know when the spikes were going to go out exactly, so that's why I was sitting there. Anyway, there's Painsmith Raznal, so on Mythic, of course. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.